All right, what's up, my brothers? We got a requested video today from a viewer whose subject line reads, "Boys Raised as Girls." So let's hop straight into this and throw it in the stream. Guy was raised by a single mom. He goes on to say, "Hey, Rich, I've been watching you for some time now, and I would like to ask you for your perspective on what Kevin Samuels said about mothers raising boys as girls." That is at least on the side topic of his latest two streams. This is interesting. Kevin's had meteoric growth. It's just straight up vertical. I've watched a couple of his streams, but I found them after a while to be quite redundant, so I'm not familiar with what he's talking about specifically here. But the soundbite of boys being raised as girls, I think that comes from Rollo Tomasi, if we want to pinpoint the origin of it. Because one of the sound bites I've heard him say quite a few times, and he mentions in at least one of his books, is that boys are treated as defective girls in society today. Anyway, let's carry on and read what he's got here. He says, "I watch as much of socially related topics on YouTube as I can because as an unwanted son," so I'm guessing he was a surprise or wasn't planned for, "who had experience being raised by a mother primarily, I can confirm that I lack proper leadership skills. But I also lack proper socializing up to the age of 4. As Jay Peterson pointed out in his lectures, that is for some reason vital for success, but in my opinion, not as vital as leadership skills." One of the things that you're doing here, my friend, is you're kind of running around the YouTubes. It's almost like, a sheep seeking shepherd. They're looking for guidance sort of thing. And I understand it. It happens a lot with guys that have been raised in a single mother household because they don't get any masculine energy. It's really bizarre. I've had conversations on all ends of the spectrum with guys that are complete plugged in betas that like hate their fathers. And one of the first things that I'll say to them is like, reach out and talk to your old man. Find out if he actually chose to leave your life, or if he was pushed out of your life, or if your mom prevented you from having access to your father growing up. There's two sides to every story. He may not be the POS that, your mom is claiming him to be. But yeah, I get it. There's the father I never had, Jordan Peterson. There's Kevin Samuels. There's a lot of guys out there. Guys have said that about me from time to time too. So he's asking me to carry on here and say, would you mind exploring this rather disturbing subject by taking an in-depth about the ways mothers set their sons up for failure by, in my opinion, ruining their son's libido, prevent developing of social skills to be able to be liked by other people, and later on in teenage years, sealing the deal by not teaching leadership skills. Okay, so let's deal with these bit by bit. I think I covered some of this data in my book. If you guys haven't got it, the Unplugged Alpha is available on Amazon. Pick it up. It's available in Kindle, print, and Audible. And if you've read it, do me a solid and just leave a quick review. It just helps me out a ton. One of the pieces of information that you're going to come across when you start looking at how children, especially boys, handle a single parent household, which, when they say single parent, what they're really saying is single mother, because 43% of children today are raised by a single mom, basically. In the situation where there's a divorce, women are still getting custody, something like 85% of the time. And yeah, it's tough. It's tough on kids. It's tough on boys and girls. The sorts of things that they've come across collecting data over the last few decades is these kids are far more likely, and I can't remember what the percentages are, but it's significantly higher. It's like 70 to 80% higher. Are significantly more likely to be involved in gang activity, have terrible grades, become pregnant as a teenager, run away from the home, cut themselves, attempt a permanent solution to a temporary problem in their life. They just don't do well. It doesn't matter how you slice and dice it. Single moms are not doing a great job at raising useful members of society. But what do we see the government doing about that? Really nothing. They continue to encourage it. The divorce laws are essentially catering towards women's hypergamous nature. I don't need no man, but I'll take his money, and I'll take his child, and I'll have custody, and I may prevent him from having access, or because I'm the sole caregiver, I'm going to only let him see him like every other weekend or something like that. And it's a disservice. Children need both parents. They need the mother as much as they need the father. The ideal situation is two-parent household raising the kids. The next closest thing is 50-50 custody, where the child goes back and forth. Problem with that is women are rewarded for being the primary caregiver. A lot of money flows to them when they have custody. So that's what they usually fight for in family court. They don't learn the leadership skills that he's talking about here. You need a father for that. You know, they just do a better job at it. I'm not saying only dads are capable of teaching leadership skills. It's just they're better at it. You know, calling a spade, right? In my opinion, and he's talking about son's libido. I've not seen that one brought up yet. That's kind of new. I've talked to a few guys that have had problems keeping women around once they get into a relationship, or if they're spinning plates or they're dating or whatever the case may be. They run into those problems because of frame, because they defer to the feminine, they become less so she can become more, and then they go through the process of betatization through 1,000 concessions, and the boy eventually loses the girl and he like wonders why. I've not come across anybody that said that they've had issues with libido with women that were raised in a single mother household. So that's new to me. Preventing developing social skills. I'm not sure if the translation doesn't work, because I know at the bottom over here you say that you live in Eastern Europe, so maybe the translation from your language to English doesn't work exactly, but I'm just trying to point that out. You're talking about developing social skills. Yeah, I mean, how are you going to have strongly developed social skills if all you're doing is spending time with your mom? Generally speaking, the school system is taught mostly by women. I think something like 8 or 9 out of 10 teachers today are female. Unless you're in some kind of like masculine dominant sport as an extracurricular, joining a dojo, you're learning combat sports, you're learning some skills that are taught by men, football, for example. You're probably going to miss out on that. And that's something that's not your fault as a kid, but as an adult, once you've grown up and you've come to realize that and you come across this information, it's on you as a man. It doesn't matter if you're 19 or 18 or 20, what are you, 32 it says here? It doesn't matter how old you are. It's incumbent upon you to take ownership for your life at that stage as a man. Okay, so developing the social skills and being around other guys, joining a tribe is going to be useful. Be able to be liked by other people. I think this whole liked by other people thing is what you're going to get a lot of from a single parent household. They're always like, oh, just be nice to other people and treat others as you want to, be treated yourself and that sort of thing. And okay, that's all nice, warm and fuzzy, but as an adult in the real world, that doesn't really work. Many of the most successful entrepreneurs that I know aren't particularly liked by everybody. In fact, some of them are in fact loathed. And that's okay, because if you're on a purpose, if you're on a mission, sometimes you've got to lean into an area to do things that other people are not willing to do. So, the whole liking by other people, yeah, I would agree that that's something that, moms teach their kids, specifically boys, and confuse them to be too nice. I wouldn't be surprised if you look at the data from Robert Glover's No More Mr. Nice Guy groups or his book, and find that most of the guys that are in those groups or that are consuming that material probably came from single mother household, because single moms make nice people. They're more kind, they're more inclusive, they're nice people, they're liked by people, generally speaking. And we know this from watching Jordan Peterson, that agreeable people don't do very well in life. They're not very successful with women, they're not very successful with money. In fact, if you're higher on the trade of disagreeableness, we know you're probably going to make more money, have more women in your life, and generally be more successful and have more financial options. So being liked it's not ideal, let's say. You've got to have a good balance of it. And I think on a balance of probabilities, most boys are too liked by too many people when they should probably try to connect more with their inner asshole a little bit, if you know what I'm saying. And leadership skills. Okay, so let's keep reading this. In my opinion, I'm guessing you just want to say, in my opinion, both millennial men and women have been let down by our past generations like perhaps no other before. The disconnect or a gap between the brutal fundamentals and needs for existence and idolizing feeble, superficial constructs is a bad combination, in my opinion. Yes, don't really disagree, but what are you going to do about it? My quick story recap: 32 years old, educated as a mechanical engineer, bachelor's degree, born and raised in Central Europe, Slovenia, by a single mom, and he says supposed stepfather. So that's his background story. So You know, you wanted me to, you know, kind of touch on this whole thing with, you know, how moms are not doing a great job with their sons and raising them. I get it. It doesn't, look, guys, if you're 16, if you're 20, if you're 32 like this guy, or 52, if you're coming across this information and you have this realization that you're missing masculine energy, you're missing an opportunity to lean into something that you feel like you want to kind of play with, then it's on you, man. You know, go join a sporting organization that's masculine dominant. Go and get involved in extracurriculars that will expose you to strong, virtuous, masculine male role models that can teach you things. There's lots of them out there. You might have an uncle, you might have a grandfather. You know, there's a lot of cultures. I've had a lot of friends from forum groups that I've been in, and it's like, you know, they would tell stories about their teenage years where their parents would send them back home to the old country, to, like, you know, the Italian countryside. And, you know, the grandfather would spend the summers, you know, with him kind of growing up in his early kind of like, you know, coming of age years. And these are in, you know, families where it's like, you know, they're working hard here in North America. So they figure, okay, let's ship the kid or ship the kids off to the parents, to the grandparents, and then let them spend some time and infuse old world order into them. So you can go any number of places to get it. I realize some guys will be like, well, I don't have an uncle and I don't have a older brother and I don't have a grandfather and okay, join a dojo, join a football team. Don't sit around playing with you know, Legos, or, you know, letting your mom put makeup on you and telling you that, you know, if you're just a nice guy, then everything will work out. I see a lot of that stuff. I see a lot of that stuff happening on social media and on different platforms where women do, and there's really no better term for it other than pussify their sons. There's a general trend, and I have a video on my channel from probably 3 or 4 years ago. I'll put a card up on the top right. There's a general trend towards the pussification of the West. I've been saying it for a while. You know, I saw this coming a long time ago, and I don't see it getting any better. I don't see things changing any time in the near future. So yeah, you're at a bit of a disadvantage as a man today without access to a father. Don't hate your old man. You know, I'm going to say this, you know, from the get-go. Don't start from the position that he was an asshole and he ran away. Maybe he was. Maybe he was a loser drunk. Maybe he was. Okay? But maybe, just maybe, your mom lied to you. And maybe it might be a good idea just to reach out to him and find the guy and say, hey, what happened, man? You know, I missed out on these things, and catch up and see what he's got to say to you. He might have been a loser. He might have been. He might have just been prevented from being a part of your life. It's, you know, it's very difficult to say. But hey, you know what? At the end of the day, you got to understand your mom chose to have unprotected sex with that guy and get knocked up. You know, there's many different forms of birth control out there, and they weren't utilized. So it's not like it's all your old man's fault, or it's all the world's fault, or it's the government's fault, or it's my fault, or whoever it is that you're going to point and sputter at. It's, you know, it's an opportunity for you to go and do something about it at that point. I mean, you did mention here that you had a supposed stepfather, but you didn't expand on that. So I'm not really sure what happened there, or maybe he entered your life, you know, later on in the equation, or maybe he was a piece of furniture and just didn't engage with you, you know, in your childhood, and just kind of sat around looking at his newspaper. I don't know, but it's difficult, and I feel for boys. You know, some of the things that you guys can do that are watching this, or if you have a family member and, you know, you're watching this thinking, okay, well, what do I do now to solve this problem? Let me give you some resources. You can definitely give him No More Mr. Nice Guy by Robert Glover. Definitely give him my book. Okay. There's also the Rational Male book series, and specific to the conversation of masculinity, I'd say read Jack Donovan's stuff. He's got great books out there, Becoming a Barbarian, The Way of Man, stuff like that. You can go and form your own tribe. There's no excuse if you're an adult. If you're a 12-year-old kid dealing with this shit, you're probably not watching it, if we're being honest, because you're, I'm guessing, playing Minecraft or, you know, doing whatever 12-year-old kids do. But if you've come to the realization and you're watching this video, I've given you some good actionable advice. And if you're a guy or a woman watching this and you know a boy or a teen or a young man that needs to hear this, buy them the book as a gift. You know, buy them a book as a gift or a series of books as a gift. Show them this video. There's things that you can do. I don't think it is a great use of time watching, you know, 317 videos of Kevin Samuels trying to hold, you know, these single mothers accountable because the way they raise boys or girls, or consuming a lot of the Jordan Peterson lectures and narratives. Jordan Peterson's a good guy, and I think he's got a good heart, but at the end of the day, he doesn't understand all of the dynamics between men and women the way that the Red Pill has kind of explained it. I mean, Rollo's done a couple of breakdowns, and I think we've done some together on Rule Zero, you know, talking about some of these ideas. But broaden your scope. You know, there's a lot out there for you to consider, and I really wish all of you guys out there the best that are struggling and dealing with this realization that you've been sent off into the world disadvantaged. There's nothing you can do about your past. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. There's only one part of the universe that you can control, and that is your future and your inner world. And you come to the realization it's on you now to take ownership. Don't hate your old man. Don't hate me for saying this. Don't hate the government. Don't hate the school, your teachers, whatever. Take ownership. Take a look at the guy in the mirror and hold that mofo accountable, and make sure that he is the one doing the right things to lead you to a path to fulfillment and the things that you want to get. I'll wrap it up on that note. If you want to sponsor a video or request a topic, kind of like this guy did, pin in the top comment. Somewhere about halfway down, there's the instructions on how to do that. It's a paid request. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment below if you have some additional advice beyond what I've talked about here on this topic. And yeah, it's a tough one, dude. You know, it really is. And it also is what it is. So don't go hoping for the world to come and save you and swoop in and improve your life. It's take ownership for yourself. You know, that's where the real change is going to come for you, so that you are able to level up. Don't waste too much time on this let's hold, you know, women accountable stuff. It's not the best, if I'm being honest. Anyway, see you guys later. Peace out.